New Taipei in Taiwan on Thursday, October 3, 2024, girded itself for the arrival of a weakening Typhoon Typhoon, which has killed 2 people so far as the island shut down for a second day with hundreds of flights grounded and financial markets closed. Typhoon is forecast to make landfall as a much weaker Category 2 typhoon around midday at the major southwestern port city of Kaohsiung. The government, though, is still warning of torrential rain and storm surges coinciding with high tide. Shortly after dawn, residents in Kaohsiung, a city of some 2.7 million people, received texted warnings telling them to seek shelter from gusts of more than 160 kilometers per hour, 100 miles per hour. It's so windy now that I do not dare to go out and inspect my neighborhood, said Lin Sai-Wang, a resident of the downtown Salmon district. Taiwan regularly gets hit by typhoons that generally land along the mountainous east coast, but this one will make landfall on the island's densely populated western plain. The fire department reported 2 deaths as the approaching typhoon brought torrential rains across the island. Both fatalities were on the mountainous and sparsely populated east coast, one man falling while trimming a tree and another man whose vehicle was hit by a falling rock. The typhoon is forecast to slowly work its way up Taiwan's flat western plain and weaken further into a tropical depression by late Friday before reaching the capital, Taipei. All domestic flights were canceled for a second day, as well as 236 international ones. The north-south high-speed rail line suspended services from central to southern Taiwan until early evening. Taiwan's financial markets also closed for a second day. Typhoons often hit Taiwan's east coast facing the Pacific, but Typhoon is unusual in that it will directly hit the west coast. The Kaohsiung government has been particularly cautious in its preparations given that the last time it was struck by such a storm in 1977, Typhoon Thelma killed 37 people and devastated the city. Typhoon is the first storm of Category 4 or above in at least 40 years to make landfall on Taiwan's densely populated western plains. Map shows paths of all Category 4 and above storms that have hit Taiwan since 1983. At least 2 people have been killed as Typhoon slammed into southwestern Taiwan, bringing the island to a standstill for a second day. Typhoon made landfall as a much weaker Category 1 typhoon about noon on Thursday in the major port city of Kaohsiung. Residents were warned by text message to seek shelter from gusts of more than 160 km, 100 miles per hour. The port was lashed by record gusts exceeding 220 km, 137 miles per hour. Authorities reported that 2 people had died as the typhoon brought torrential rains across Taiwan, both on the mountainous and sparsely populated east coast. One fell while trimming a tree and the other's vehicle was hit by a rock. "It's very powerful," said Chu Yi-tang, a government official in Xiaogang district, home to Kaohsiung's airport. It's been a long time since such a big storm made a landfall here. A storm forced Taiwan's financial markets, offices, and schools to close for a second day amid strong winds and heavy rain. More than 100,000 homes lost electricity, half of them in Kaohsiung, state-run utility Taipower said. All domestic flights were canceled for a second day, as well as 242 international flights. In a separate incident, officials in the southernmost county of Pingtung said 9 people had died in a hospital electrical fire, with soldiers from a nearby base mobilized to aid medical workers and firefighters in the evacuation of patients and putting out the flames. Typhoons often hit the east coast facing the Pacific. O'Crathen is unusual since it directly hit the west coast, leading Taiwan's media label it a weird storm, and also because it hovered off the coast before reaching land. The slow-moving typhoon has doused eastern and southern parts of the island over the past 5 days, forcing thousands to evacuate from mountainous or low-lying areas. Some eastern regions received more than 1.6 meters, 5.2 feet of rain, washing cascades of rocks and mud on the roads. The typhoon is forecast to slowly work its way up Taiwan's flat western plain and weaken further by Friday, becoming a tropical depression over the central region. The Kaohsiung government has been particularly cautious in its preparations since the last such storm in 1977. Typhoon Thelma killed 37 people and devastated the city.